This podcast is brought to you in partnership with UTS.
If you, like us, are experiencing post-Wimbledon withdrawal symptoms,
And you can't wait until next year's championships for your tennis fix.
your next chance to watch live tennis is in London at the UTS Grand Final.
Yes, that's right. UTS is returning to London from December the 6th to the 8th at the Copper Box Arena at the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park.
So if you missed UTS in London last year, it really is tennis like never before, with top players, live DJs, mid-match interviews. It's a lot of fun.
And it was incredible seeing British number one Jack Draper win the UTS Grand Final and lifting that lightning bolt trophy in 2023.
So to make sure you don't miss out this year, tickets are on sale now and from as little as £19.
A ticket to UTS guarantees you will see some of the 8 best players across the UTS tour, including UTS Oslo champion Andrei Rublev.
And the field could also include the likes of Nick Kyrgios or Casper Ruud if they win UTS New York.
And Wimbledon semi-finalist Lorenzo Musetti if he triumphs at UTS Frankfurt.
As well as a local wildcard. We're looking at you, Jack Draper.
Tickets are on sale now at uts.live. The link is in our description.
Please take your seats quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tennis Weekly with Joel, Kim and Chris on today's Rafael Nadal special.
We cover the short and sweet Ruudal partnership,
Quiz Nadal on his tennis past and future,
and go undercover at a Rafa practice session.
Alina, today is the 24th of July and we're here for a very special episode because we've spent the last week in the company of none other than Rafael Nadal at the Nordea Open in Bastad. That's something that I never thought I would be saying. Did you see that coming, Alina?
No, absolutely not. It was coming out of nowhere.
It really felt like we were being pranked when we got the email announcing the different players that were arriving. I think it went Casper, Rublev, Sinner, and then Nadal. And I mean, I couldn't believe Nadal was coming, but you never believed Sinner was coming.
I had maybe a hope that he was coming.
Really? You said surely not. He'll do well at Wimbledon.
Yeah, it was a long shot, but most of them made it.
Most of them made it, and Nadal made it for the first time since he won the title in 2005. That's 19 years ago, and he made it all the way back to the final, and that was his first final since 2022. So listeners, you're in for a treat because we got to spend so much time with him in this tiny, wonderful little Swedish town. I mean, for listeners who haven't heard of Bostad, where is it?
It's south of Sweden, by the sea. It's again a Riviera.
We do
tour.
like a tournament by the sea, listeners.
On clay, absolutely. Yeah, it's located 2 hours away from Copenhagen and around 2 hours away from Gothenburg. So it's really, really easy to get there. And you can actually take a direct train, as most of the players do, from the Copenhagen airport.
It's very easy. We didn't have to fly in because obviously, Alina, we came from Copenhagen because we are Copenhagen residents. And therefore, for us, it's almost just like pack a bag and go and meet Nadal, which is very unusual because it feels like we should have probably made more of an effort than just hopped on a train for a couple of hours.
In all fairness, we didn't believe it's real until we actually saw it. And then we sat there looking at like, is it happening?
Yes.
Is this Nadal?
We really almost had to like reach out and pinch him. We were that close just to check that it was happening because again, it's such a small place. And for those who've listened to some of our catch-ups previously, last year we did a special with Casper and Rublev where we got to speak to both of them. And we also, previously, I think the year was 2022, we covered the final and gave a little tour diaries as to what it's like. And if you were not with us in 2022, which can of course be forgiven, it is the highlight of the summer, I've heard, Alina.
That is the tagline.
It's the slogan. I mean, it's a vibe, isn't it?
It's just, I think, one of those tours where you just can pair it with your vacation and you feel like all summery, but also there's tennis.
Yeah.
And you can always ditch the tennis and go to the beach.
And we did at times. No, we didn't, of course. We covered every last point. But some of the players actually, I mean, I was walking around and Cam Norrie went past in his swimming trunks to go for a swim. So they're literally staying in a hotel on a beach. So for them, it's very much a resort activity. And I mean, they love it. The players love it, don't they, Alina?
Oh, they do. We had a couple of proposals last year.
Yes, this is something that really shocked us. We used to go to this bar on the beach, and every time we went for a drink, we'd be swiping on Instagram and we'd see another player had become engaged. And I think the first player we saw was
Denis Shapovalov.
yes, and he's engaged to a Swede, Miriam Bjorkman. And then it was
Federico Coria. He also proposed last year.
Yes.
Shortly after Denis Shapovalov.
Yeah, it really was. It was just when it rains, it pours. But it is also a WTA 125, and both the ATP tournaments and the 125 tournament won Best Tournament of the Year from the players. Now we must move on to the events of the week for Nadal. It was a big week for Nadal. But first, the elephant in the room. Where is Kim? Well, Kim, unfortunately, was traveling and was unable to be here. Obviously, Nadal's participation was very last minute, and she already had plans, which was such a shame. But she did give us a wonderful question to ask him, and I think it's the perfect way to open and the perfect way to hear her response to his answer.
Rafa, it's 19 years since you won the title here. Obviously, a lot's happened since then. You're now back with your family, your son. How does it feel different this year based on, well, 20 years ago?
I feel much older, yeah. But no, I make a joke on the court last day. Was here defending my title. But yeah, completely different situation. 19 years ago, I just won my first Master Thousands, then Roland Garros, everything. My tennis career just in some way started. You know? So yeah, 19 years ago, 19 years after, I can say that I'm very proud about all the things that happened in my life and in my career, without a doubt. In that moment, I never would imagine to be first thing, and I would imagine to be here at the age of 38. But of course, be here at the age of 38 after all the success that I had in the tour is something that was impossible to imagine myself 9 years ago. No? So yeah, just happy for everything.
Well, 19 years and a lot has changed, of course, including baby Rafa now in attendance. But it's been so nice to have him back at the Nordea Open. I've loved watching all of the content and the clips that you and Alina have brought us, Chris, from Sweden. And thanks so much for being there. It's been fantastic as a Rafa fan to have him back on the court, having those battles out in the clay and also gearing up for the Olympics. And although he didn't come away with the title, I think it's been a splendid week, and also a bit of Ruudal as well was exciting to see at the start of the week. So thanks so much for bringing it to us here at Tennis Weekly.
I mean, it was quite interesting hearing all of that from Nadal, and I think Kim really, with that question, opened up the conversation to the fact that so much has happened to Rafa in those last 19 years. Sure, he'd won a French Open in 2005, but now he has a family. Now he's won, 22 Grand Slam titles. I mean, all of the things that have happened, it must be so surreal for him being back here.
Defending his title.
Yeah, I did love that. And it must be strange because the place probably hasn't changed much. It can't. It's so small.
Yeah, and also just imagine bringing the entire Rafa institution.
I mean, it's the whole of Bastad was basically like booked out for Rafa, probably like his actual entourage.
The entire entourage. It feels, like a summer in the country where you just bring all the institution down and make it.
Yeah. He did have a private plane, and then also when we arrived on the train, there were some officials from the tournament who were holding up a card, weren't they?
Rafa team.
And
they were still picking up members
there
of
were
the
more
Rafa
coming,
team on
yeah.
Wednesday.
Exactly. And Alina actually said at that point, look, just go with them. Like, we're with the tournament. We should just get in this car. Like, surely it'll be for us. But we were racing to actually watch some of the tennis that day because there was so much traffic for Rafa, because this really was a huge deal in Sweden for someone as big as Rafa to be there, and there were traffic jams piling up.
Some of the residents told us that they've never had so many people in Bastad.
I mean, it's incredible. And last year, there were still seats that were available. This year, with obviously the Sinner announcement and the Rafael Nadal effect, not even the worst seat was unoccupied. It was quite something. And that normally I refer to this as the Casper Ruud Open because it's just a short trip from him down from Oslo.
He is even taking the car down
He's
to
also
Oslo.
taking the car and the dogs down from Oslo. But this year, as I've said, it was the Ruudal Open because there was a special announcement just before the tournament started saying that they would be partnering up. And we're speculating this could be because Rafa needs some match practice, but also because he's playing doubles at the Olympics with Carlos Alcaraz and might need to fine-tune his volleys ahead of that. But for Casper Ruud, it was a very exciting opportunity to play with someone he's openly referred to as being his idol, but also someone who he's now able to say he has a nickname with. So we're going to hear what he had to say about the experience now.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, we've gotten to know each other quite well, so we have fun together, and he can tell me if he thinks I play bad, and he can tell me if he thinks I play well. So if he thinks I play well, it's nice to hear. I think he also stepped up there in the match point at the volley, and yeah, we kind of did well together today. Those guys were quite good in my eyes, and it was a good match. And yeah, I'm kind of happy or proud that I kind of was able to come back from a bit of a disappointment in the morning and have a lunch and regroup and play good doubles.
Nadal was asked on court about the nickname Ruudal, and he wasn't 100% sure what it meant. Are you fully aware and are you fully behind it?
I don't know. He said like, he said that one of the nicknames that he heard was Fedal, and because of Federer and him, and then now I have Ruudal, and I said, yeah, it's almost the same kind of respect between the players. I mean, I'm nowhere near Roger, but yeah, I'm sure that for me, I will enjoy it. I'm not sure if he will remember that forever, but no, it's people come up with anything, so I guess it's a fitting name for this week, but I think people will probably forget quite fast after this week.
It was so fun to hear that bit. I mean,
it was fun.
Chances? But also, Nadal had no idea.
The man was clueless.
Nickname. Everybody was excited. We even have a picture of the main draw.
The official draw.
The official draw outside of the stands where...
They put stickers on it.
On the evening, there were stickers on the draw saying
We weren't
Ruudal.
sure. Yeah, we went to the night match, which was Rublev, where he crashed out. And we were walking back up to the summer house that we're staying in, and I thought it was vandalism. I thought maybe a kid had brought stickers, and then I found out it was the tournament that had done that.
It was the tournament.
Yeah.
It looked like just a sticker slapped over the name saying Ruudal. It was
quite something, and it really did kind of get the tournament going from Monday. And for a 250 to be sold out, completely packed, Magnus Norman, the tournament director, was saying just how incredible it was to see it as packed as it was. And I mean, not just for that match, but also for all the matches that Rafa played, because he also had a very big match against a certain Bjorn Borg's son, Leo Borg.
Who saw that coming?
No one saw that coming. And I think that for Swedes, I mean, it doesn't get better than that. A home player, the son of a legend, playing against one of the greatest of all time. And so whether you were watching that contest, which wasn't particularly much of a contest, or whether you were watching the Ruudal doubles, it certainly lit up every single day with some fireworks down on the Swedish Riviera, as we've called it. But unfortunately, from the Ruudal perspective, it was short and sweet, as you said up front, Alina. It didn't last forever. Sometimes all great things come to an end.
And it ended short, but it was a beautiful combo. It was almost like a dreamlike exhibition.
None of this was real. It made no
like
sense.
Fairy tale. Like
there was a haze, and I was like, is it my sunglass filter? No. It was just the fact that these stars were playing right in front of us.
And ended just like a fairy tale because Rafa pulled out after that 4-hour epic he played against one of the names I dropped from Buenos Aires Open,
yes.
Mariano Navone.
Talent spotting. We know he was showing us quite some skill. Yeah, very impressive on the tour, especially on the clay.
And we're going to hear from Nadal about pulling up from the doubles.
Yeah, no, I cannot play doubles. I mean, I am sad for that because for me it was a good option to be in another final in doubles after a long time ago. But it's no chance for me, 4 hours match yesterday, over 2 hours, almost 2 hours, 20 today. for me, it was a big success to be able to fight for the match today. So I cannot put in risk the final of tomorrow, and I honestly cannot put in risk my body now for that semifinals match. And I hope everybody understands. I just tried my best since that moment in singles and doubles, but after 4 hours match, for me, just is a risk that I can't. Yeah, don't make sense.
When we posted this clip from the interview that he did afterwards, we knew it wasn't news to us because he's just played 4 hours. The man's not been playing tennis. He's 38 and he's been playing doubles and singles this week. But people were outraged online at the fact that Nadal had let down Casper. And I think that based on my experience in the Wimbledon press rooms, Alina, where a certain Emma Raducanu, the more junior member of the team, pulled out of it, there was a lot of backlash. Were you surprised by the backlash that Rafael Nadal, who extended the invite to Casper, got for pulling out of the partnership?
I was a bit surprised that we didn't just enjoy it more and take the matches that we got as a little gift.
It was a bonus.
It was absolutely a bonus. I was surprised that there was a little bit of backlash. But of course, when you have so much entertainment, it's really hard for the people to
People
let
want
go.
more.
We wanted more of
We got
that,
a taste of it, and
absolutely.
especially the dramatic fashion of that second win where they saved a match point. I think we were all on the edge of our seats for that one. So I can understand why people would want more. Any final words on what Ruudal gave us beyond a nickname, Alina? Did it give us the chance or the optimism that maybe Nadal might shift to a few more doubles partnerships in his swan song of his career?
Yes, but also I think it just gave us really nice memories.
It was the nice memories, and he did say that singles would always be the priority. So maybe I'm
course
holding
he's-
on to a pipe dream.
It is, but we love this.
We did love it. It was wonderful. It was another magic Bastad memory. And we're going to be taking a quick break now, but do join us in the second half, where we'll be talking about his 4-hour epic, his Olympic ambitions, and his US Open participation. Welcome back to the Tennis Weekly podcast with Joel, Kim, and Chris. And now, Alina, we're going to be talking about that epic match. We were strapped to our seats. We did not leave the court for how long?
For 4 hours.
4
I think
hours.
that is the longest you've stayed in a match, Chris.
I think it is, because we were talking earlier about matches that I've lasted very few minutes in, and the shortest match I've ever attended was the first 4 games of Rybakina versus Wozniacki at Wimbledon, when we hyped that up as so exciting and it didn't deliver. Whereas this one, I couldn't leave. I literally couldn't leave, because what if I missed something that was spectacular? And it was a hot day as well.
It
so
was a hot day.
we didn't
were
bring
under the
snacks.
sun. They were like, you almost like we were trying to stay hydrated. There were like bucket hats involved, sunscreen.
Press assistants
applying,
throwing water, spritzing us
reapplying.
with water. They had got the hose out for us, turned it from the court to us. It was needed.
We loved it. Every minute of it.
Did we love every minute? I was very concerned when he was 5-2 up, pegged back to 5-all in the third. Were you loving that?
I was expecting Rafa to pull it together and bring, some of the Rafa magic where he comes back out of nowhere and, he still shows like he still can do it.
Yeah.
And he did it.
He did do
was
it.
like one of those,
Yeah, and I think that's actually why when we spoke to him in press afterwards, he was so elated. I think it was the relief, because when you've been up 5-2 in the third set, when you are someone like Rafael Nadal, who has such a trademark of getting through these matches and having that focus, he never relents. And for him to lose that focus from 5-2 and win it, I think you can hear just how happy he was to get the win at the end of such a long match.
Well, happy to be through, but I would love to have a little bit shorter match now, because I need to check how I wake up tomorrow after this kind of match. That even if it's tough to recover when you are in full shape, you can imagine today, when I'm not playing very often. No? So let's see. But yeah, I'm gonna do my best to try to recover for tomorrow. But at the same time, it's mean a lot to me to win this kind of match against a good player. I'm going through a lot of up and downs on the whole match, but in some way I hold the spirit during the whole time. It was not easy to accept that 3-0 in the second, that 5-2 in the third, and had the chance to break again in the 5-all. Have been a great game.
Some trivia, Alina. That was his second longest 3-set match that he's ever played. Do you know where and who the longest 3-set match was that he played? And I can give you the time if it helps. It was 3 minutes longer. It was 4 hours and 3 minutes.
That is not too much of a help here, but that must be against one of the.
It's not Navone.
I don't think it's somebody in like top 40.
Okay.
But I bet it was one of the greats.
If you had to guess, are you thinking Federer or Djokovic?
I would incline more towards the Djokovic side, just because they are also the last two lasting.
Yeah,
enough.
probably. I can see that. They probably had a lot of clashes where maybe they weren't getting the ball through the court quite as much. But it was Djokovic, you're correct. The year was 2009, and it was the semi-finals of Madrid. And Nadal won that 3-6, 7-6, 7-6. So when it mattered, he got it done. But what separates those two is a number of years. It's 15 years. And he's still doing it. I mean, that's quite the achievement.
To be honest, next to the Ruudal gift, this was the second gift that we got from Bastad. This was like a Rafa special.
We're never going to forget it. And we have to kind of just say how lucky we were with the seats as well, because the press seats aren't normal press seats, which tend to be sort of on the diagonal, slightly high up, or you're in a box where you're watching it from somewhere, and not a box in terms of like a corporate box. You're in almost like a pen somewhere that might not always have the best view. This is front row courtside.
Chris,
he almost hit me in the face
when he startled a couple of times with some serve returns from him. He's coming very close.
He's sliding towards us, and you have to. I mean, thank goodness he knows how to move on a clay court. But I should just wrap up the stats really quickly, because someone will be asking this. What was the longest best of 3 ATP match? And this is since 1991. And I can tell you it's very topical, Alina, because it's an Olympic match that happened in London, and it's on grass, and it was at Wimbledon. It was Federer, where he defeated Del Potro in 2012, and it was 3-6, 7-6, 19, 17. So it does make you think just how long this one went, because there were a lot less games played, but it was not that much shorter, because that was 4 hours and 26 minutes. So could we have lasted that extra 26 minutes, do you think?
Oof,
we would have stayed, but would we have lasted?
We would have stayed, but
we were glued to the seats. But unfortunately, this was probably the highlight of the play from Nadal. In the final, it was not to be. He went down against Nuno Borges, unfortunately for Nadal fans and for the tournament, which had really, I mean, if we're being honest, Alina, the hype was almost too much for anyone to bear going into that.
It was a lot of memories and ceremonies and every single media commitment you would imagine.
Doubled. Yeah, exactly. He really did a lot of it. So going into the final, the whole narrative, I think they were ready with all the socials of 2005 winner, 2024 he defended the title, which obviously he was talking about, but he kind of ran out of steam in that one. He did talk about the fact that that was likely to be a reason for that loss when you are playing so much tennis, having not played beyond the practice court for quite a while, and only having that brief sort of stints where he's been playing. It did feel like potentially it was one step too many, but not to take anything away from Nuno, who did play some really great tennis, really competent tennis, and he got it done, winning his first ever title, and he was thrilled. He talked about, I mean, who would have thought? I mean, we were starstruck. He must have been starstruck too.
He couldn't really understand how this is happening. Winning your first ATP final against somebody you dreamt to play against as a child. He mentioned when Nadal went pro, he was 1.
Oh my goodness. That is crazy when you think about that. And then
so it was a big thing for him, and definitely he will not forget this soon, just like we won't forget this.
No, we will never forget this. And it does remind me of, like, you know, Osaka playing against Serena, but that was the US Open final. This was the Bastad final. So
it was the Bastad final.
Let's not
There's a bit of a difference, but hey, don't take anything away.
Don't take anything away from him. He wasn't particularly happy with his form, Nadal, and unfortunately it did end on a bit of a somber note in the press room, because there were some frustrations from him around the fact that he wasn't able to bring his game this week, and we can hear what he said now.
Well, I played the final. That's positive. I was able to play long matches without having an injury. That's good. In some way, I felt that I arrived here practicing much better than what I played on the tournament during the whole week. That's something that I am not satisfied. I arrived feeling here with the feeling that I was playing at a good level, and I was not able to show that during the whole week, and that's something that I am not happy with. Anyway, of course, it's a final. I can't say it's a bad result because it's the first final since a long time ago, but I was not able to feel myself enough comfortable during the whole week to be satisfied with the week of tennis that I played.
Looking back now, we did see him practice and he was doing better.
He was ripping the ball. I was watching some of that back again when we were posting on our YouTube channel, and do check out our YouTube channel, listeners, because all of this Rafa content is up now. The press conferences, the practice sessions, the interview questions. We were not being officially informed of practice sessions for Rafa because of the hype around such a legend playing at such a small place, but it was being posted on social media about half an hour before he was playing.
Yeah.
And we got wind of this actually through Magnus Norman, because we both follow him. And I leapt out of my bedroom in the summer house and I said, Alina, and she goes, we're doing it. She'd already seen it as well. So
luckily we were just like 3 minutes away.
We walked down the hill for an appointment with Rafa.
And it did seem like a very private practice. Of course, we got to see the entire Rafa
camp arriving, including baby Rafa was there with tennis rackets, which was very sweet. He went to have a little hit with his father afterwards.
So
Uncle Tony was there. But I think on the verdict from the practice session, it almost seems like Rafa does genuinely believe that if you're practicing well, you play well, and that practice is almost substitute for match play. And I think that as the week went on, that definitely did change in his mentality. I think at the start of the week, he was saying, I believe that this wasn't preparation for the Olympics.
Yeah, he definitely mentioned that all the tournaments he plays, he never thinks about tours as preparations. Every tournament is important. And he was taking it super seriously.
Because we all thought this was practice for the Olympics, but he actually felt like this was a tournament he was competing at. And obviously that kind of explains some of the disappointment that happens. I think you can understand that. And obviously any tournament he plays, he wants to win. It's Rafael Nadal.
Exactly. I think one of the things he brought up, and I think that is what makes the difference from practice to competitive match, is the focus. He mentioned that he still struggles with keeping his mind focused, and the focus
used to come so easy, didn't it?
Yeah, and now he's just like, I'm not playing so many matches, I'm not so competitive anymore. That focus needs to be practiced and exercised.
Well, he said it himself. It's not every week he's on the tour.
Exactly.
And I think that's why you can't just suddenly switch it on, switch it off, especially as you have those extended breaks. But the break is not happening now because he headed straight to the Olympics.
Yeah, and I think everybody's excited for Paris. We're excited to see double Rafa. We're going to see him playing singles, but also playing doubles with Carlos.
A young player. You might have heard of him, Carlos Alcaraz. I wonder who asked who in that, but...
Let's hear from Rafa about playing the Olympics.
Yeah, well, I am focused now on trying to put myself in a position to play well. That's it. Then, of course, playing, in Olympic Games is the most important event in the world of sport. So I've been always super special, represent Spain and feel part of a big team for sports people. So looking forward to enjoy this week of preparation and then the competition. Excited playing in the Olympics, and I really hope that I will find the right energy in the team and in the practices in Paris to recover the level that I need to play.
Well, he's excited for Paris, which is nice. Sometimes we forget with the Olympics that this is such a big deal for players, and almost like, seeing Andy Murray this week announce it's his final tournament. We all thought that might be happening, but the fact that he had some of his best memories and weeks there, and he's posting pictures of Carlos, It's almost like they go back to like the childhood excitement of playing the game, and this is the dream. And he really came across in that answer. This is the pinnacle of sport. He did mention.
I am honestly more looking forward to the new nickname. We haven't
Oh,
heard
what would it
yet.
be? I think I saw someone suggest. Was it
Alcaraz.
Alcaraz? Not sure about that.
That's not surely gonna stick. We need something catchier. We need people to go at it and give it like
Yeah, Rafa doesn't quite work either.
Rafa.
No, it sounds like something you might eat.
I'm pretty sure. Give it a few days.
Yes, it will. It will come.
Social media is gonna solve this for us.
I want it to start with an N and end in an as. I think listeners, if you have,
Us?
I quite like that. We maybe cracked it. Well done, Alina. If anyone does think of something better, do tell us. But I think that's it. So we have to look to the future now for Nadal because we've seen him here. I'm not necessarily thinking that I'm going to have or will have an opportunity to be this close to him again. And we don't know where he'll be playing next. But the news did come out during the tournament that he has entered the US Open. And when we saw this, we didn't read too much into it, but the whole internet did. They thought it was confirming his participation. And thankfully, he was asked about his participation and he wanted to clarify some things. And we'll hear from him now.
No, I needed to book to have the chance to decide after that. That's as simple as that. Nothing changed for me. I gonna decide what's going on after Olympics. By the way, I will be playing in the Laver Cup, but I am, to be clear and to not create false expectations. I'm not sure at all to be in New York. No decision. No decision today, and the decision will not happen before the end of the Olympics.
It sounds like definitely he's giving himself a chance to potentially say no.
Yeah,
how he
you can't
feels.
play it unless you're entered.
Exactly.
So he had to enter it, as he said. He also wanted to make it clear that he doesn't know. So anyone who thinks they do know, they don't.
No, and I appreciate it because that was one of the most straightforward answers to a question ever asked that week. I was like, I want to make this very clear.
Yeah, I had
will
to.
know.
I've entered it. I don't know.
I will know a week before.
Exactly. And the only thing that I know I'm playing is the Labour Cup.
Exactly.
And that's why all those rumours are circulating that we might get another Federer Nadal handhold. Ellie Goulding might pop back onto court. They might have a cry and we might say goodbye to another legend. That is what people are thinking about. Is the US Open a decoy? Based on Nadal saying this, I actually don't think it is. I think he genuinely doesn't know if he wants to play it or whether he will be playing it. And that's the theme of the whole season with not having a send-off in Paris. It feels like he doesn't know if he'll be back.
I think also Bastad might have given him some like good indications and good answers to question he had.
There will be chances, but it depends at what cost and at what length he wants to continue playing. But we are wrapping it up now, Alina. But before we go, we have to do a peak pit pleasant surprise.
Yes.
I almost skipped that. That would be a crime given the fact that we always do it. I make Joel and Kim do it every time, and now I think Joel loves it. You can tell that he's the one who puts the most thought into it. We tend to just think about it on the spot. So I'm going to put you on the spot. You'd like to start with our peak.
My peak. I think it might be the Rafa practice. Private practice.
Yes.
I thought it was just so surreal to just go around,
wander down the hill. I had my Nordea Open bucket hat on, listeners. It's on our social media. We were dressed as fans to go to this.
We were dressed as fans, although
lanyards
sporting the lanyards always helps not to get too many questions asked.
Especially when you nick a ball from the practice session, Alina.
Yeah. And it was the practice.
It was a gift.
My pick.
Yeah.
Because I did find a lost ball from the Rafa practice that I got to keep as Rafa was going away from the court. So
yes, indeed. He did not miss it. No.
Nobody missed the ball.
Well, that's a fabulous peak, and I fully agree with you on that. I would probably have to go for the pit. And I think the pit, unfortunately, has to be that final. We saw so many amazing moments, and I just think that the whole atmosphere that the tournament created kind of made it this sort of really difficult situation, even for someone like Nadal to sort of handle in some ways. And we always finish on something a bit more positive, our pleasant surprise.
Ooh. The pleasant surprise of the Bastad 2024. We had so many
I know what yours might be.
Do you?
Could it be a sudden upset that happened? The first match that we went to?
Are you going to talk about the Ruud Montero game?
I am, because I think you were pleasantly surprised by Montero's level, because you did call it. Like, you weren't surprised, you were pleasantly surprised, because I think you thought it might be close.
I did say that I am expecting this to be a competitive match, given that Montero has been
In form, he's going up the rankings.
He's raising the level, and
You picked a winner.
There.
Yeah, he is.
We spotted talent again.
You did spot talent again.
Well, late talent.
Well, if you'd like to go to a very small, wonderful place for the summer, the tournament is running the week after Wimbledon again next year with the WTA event, final week of Wimbledon, and that is the 125. Tickets do go on sale, and there are early bird from the 14th of February. It might be slightly different. That's how we spend Valentine's Day, Alina.
It's our Valentine's Day.
It is. We take 20% off the price for anyone who comes with us when we get those tickets. And tickets for early bird are around 396 SEK, which is about £28. So very reasonable, considering you could get Casper Ruud, Rafael Nadal, and Andrei Rublev on that billing, which is an unbelievable price to pay. And if you don't get a ticket for a main court, it's all good still, Alina.
You can go and see the practice courts at all times.
Which are free.
Yes. You just walk on the side street, and you walk on 4 beautiful courts across the street from
It's
the
unbelievable.
marina.
So even if you just fancy a break and popping in to watch some practice, it really is a special tournament. And finally, before we go, we have to say our Sergio Tacchini competition is now live, isn't it, Alina?
Yes. Please visit our social media and do enter before Friday.
Yes, Friday at midnight, you have a chance to win a jacket that we sported at Wimbledon. I promise you it's not Joel's old jacket. It is not Kim's old cardigan. It is a brand new jacket. So do check out our Instagram. You can enter multiple times. You have to follow both of us, Sergio Tacchini, as well as our page, Tennis Weekly, which we hope you're already following. You have to like the post and tag someone who you think would like it. So Lena, I won't be tagging you, you've already got one, but maybe I'll tag someone that we both know. Maybe Magnus Norman.
That would be interesting.
I think he'd look great in it. So
maybe for next year.
Next year we can get him to sport that. But Tennis Weekly will be back with Patrick Mouratoglou for a special Meets episode coming out next Monday. And that will also be a video episode as well as an Olympic video special on the 5th of August. It's all coming up. So listeners, I do hope you've enjoyed our latest episode of the Tennis Weekly podcast. Remember to subscribe to us to stay up to date on all of the action from the ATP and WTA tours.
We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcasting platforms out there. And if you like what you're hearing, then make sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
You can also follow us on social media. Alina, our social media has been popping during this time. You've captured all the moments, the celebrations.
Good Rafa celebration, all the Vamos, they're all there.
They're all there. So do check out our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok, our YouTube, where you'll have all of the press conferences in full, and our X, where you can see the clips of that and some of our commentary in short snippets. And the handle for all of those is Tennis Weekly Pod. You can also purchase our Tennis Weekly merch at etsy.com/shop/Tennis Weekly Podcast.
And you can email the show, tennisweeklypod@gmail.com, or check out our website, tennisweekly.co.uk.
And we will be back on Monday at Tennis Weekly HQ, so I hope you can join us for that. But in the meantime, it's goodbye from Alina.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. We'll see you again soon.